guys, welcome back to Seduce Me to the Demon War. So we're going to do part 2 of, whoops, wrong person. Was it Matthews? Yes, blue is Matthew. Sorry, let me get back in there. Okay, so we're gonna continue part 2 Matthew's route. Remember that I'm being dragged into hell before my wedding. Nothing big. I was pulled deeper into the darkness. I was no longer in my room. I was being dragged through a dark void, one that I couldn't escape. I reached out and clawed at the dark, trying to find something to grab onto. I tried to pull my legs away from the hands that were holding them, but couldn't pull free. What was going on? Why was this happening? Someone help me! As if someone heard my screams, I suddenly felt hands let go and disappear, leaving me to float in the darkness as they left me in. I shut my eyes. Please let this be a dream. I finally felt a surface under my feet, and I collapsed onto it, my body curling in on itself from the experience I had. I didn't dare tear my eyes away from my lap, not ready to get up just yet. The voice I heard, however, made my heart stop.
You! What are you doing here?
Diana, is that you? Oh. Wait, who's this chick? She doesn't look like a demon. She looks like a really cute fairy. I looked up to see 5 figures, strangers, monsters, beings that I didn't recognize. They all looked down at me in surprise as if I had dropped in at a very bad time. One man looked like an orc from a fantasy game without the tusks. He had broken horns and a very frightening aura about him as he stared at me. The other male was lanky in comparison, more human-like, but I could almost feel power emanating from him regardless. One of the women who was staring at me had rabbit ears. Rabbit ears. They twitched on top of her head as she looked at me and grabbed her staff. She seemed harmless, yet she had animal ears. The one creature that I couldn't discern the sex of seemed more excited to see me than shocked, than surprised. What freaked me out about them was that they had wings sticking out from their back, and they were floating. The last woman, however, set off alarm bells in my head as I looked at her surprised face. Her hair, her eyes. Diana? As she stared, the woman turned her body toward me in recognition to the name I called her.
What are you doing here?
I got dragged into the floor, so neither of us want me to be here, okay? I have a wedding to get to. But before Diana could speak further, most likely to repeat herself, a figure quickly stepped up and bowed to her, kneeling beside me.
My lady, please forgive me. I felt something moving between our worlds and assumed the Demon Lord was to blame, so I intercepted his summoning of this human.
So you dragged me down here.
You! So I wasn't the only one who felt the change in the air.
Diana stared at the man kneeling beside me as I kept my eyes up at her. As she turned her gaze to me, I gulped silently. What was she going to do with me? This all felt wrong. I was about to be married. My instinct was to... cry, attack, stay still, or scream. I don't like any of these, so I'm just going to chill. I couldn't move. My mind was empty of emotions except for fear. Why was this happening? Where was I? Diana stared at me before sighing and kneeling down to my level. As she settled onto her knees, I leaned away from her, unsure what to do. Was she going to kiss me again and take my energy? Knowing her? Maybe.
Can you tell me what happened?
Why are you being so nice to me? I didn't want to speak. I felt no courage to. My mind was so wrapped up around this chaos that I felt nothing but fear and anxiousness. This couldn't have been happening. I was dreaming.
Is she okay?
I don't think so.
This is a waste of our time. Just kill her or something.
I will fight you.
Yes, because that's a smart thing to do. Kill someone who is clearly traumatized and has done nothing to deserve death. Brilliant idea. Bravo.
I like that guy. Diana continued to stare at me, waiting for me to answer. Why? She didn't cast a spell at me, nor did she attack me. She continued to wait and stare. Slowly, my mind began to sink into the situation. Diana was willing to listen. Was she willing to help? My voice didn't want to answer still, so I forced myself to nod, wanting to answer her somehow. Diana smiled softly, which conflicted with my memories of her. She never smiled like that, yet she was now. Diana held out her hand, ushering me to take it.
Can you stand?
Why are you being so nice to me? I looked around at the other beings in the room. They all kept their gaze to me, unsure what I would do or say. Diana, however, led the conversation.
First, can you tell me what happened to you?
I took a breath, recounting everything that happened. I was about to go to the church to be married, and then there's a collar around my neck, and then I got pulled into hell.
A shadow summoning?
Sure.
One of yours couldn't have.
On my honor, it wasn't any of mine. We have nothing to gain from kidnapping a human. Nor do we know who this woman is, anyhow.
My lady, if I may, I clearly remember hearing imp demons in the void along with her. It must have been the Demon Lord's henchmen.
Those damnable creatures. That explains it.
So my future dad-in-law was kidnapping me.
Well, dear, it seems that you were to be either a new harem girl for the Demon Lord to ravish, or bait for the boys to return to their father's side. Either way, I doubt you would have lived long had the Demon Lord gotten his hands on you.
I guess it's good that I showed up here, though.
Wait a minute. This girl knows about the Demon Lord's heirs?
Yes.
They're my hair.
Hilariously enough, she was set to marry one of them, as you can see from her garb.
My garb.
Well, since you do not belong here, the obvious thing to do is to send you home.
Sweet. If you can do it within the next 10 minutes, that'd be great.
Of course. It should be easy to do once everything is in order. It'll be like you never left the human world.
Sounds? Wait, like I never left the human world? What do you mean by left the human world? Well, I'm in hell.
Dear, do you not realize where you are? You are in the demon world.
Well, apparently I'm really surprised, but I think it was really obvious that I was dragged into hell. Diana stepped towards me, both of her hands softly trying to show she meant no harm as she positioned them in front of her body.
Do not panic. We will send you back now, so there's nothing to worry about.
Sounds
How
good
will
to
you
me.
power the spell? Bringing someone here is no easy task, but sending someone back consumes much more energy.
I'll use what energy I have now and rest. We can organize the siege another time when I fully recover. It's not like the Demon Lord can escape the corner we've trapped him in, so we do have some time to spare.
You'd
Sounds
waste
good to
time and
me.
energy on this human. We must strike now while the Demon Lord is weakened.
But the human doesn't belong here. She needs to go home.
Shall I prepare the return spell?
Do. I grant you permission to use my energy to power the spell.
Oh, what a nice girl. Diana Shadow? I watched as Diana's shadow simply stood against the wall, mirroring the movements of the real succubus in the room. Before my eyes, the shadow began to morph and expand on the wall on its own. I looked back to Diana to see her wrapping her arms around herself and curling her shoulders over as if she was in pain. Her nails embedded themselves into her forearms, and I could barely make out a painful hiss escaping her clenched teeth. Was the spell hurting her that badly? I turned back to the wall to see Diana's shadow shaking and vibrating as if it was resisting the change the man was forcing on it.
You will obey my command. Open the gates to the void, and allow passage to the world we seek.
Transitum perenam pector tenebris. Ubi aperit. Ianoio. Deception.
Upon Diana's final word, her shadow burst and expanded into an oval-shaped doorway. I stared wide-eyed at the passage before a hand placed itself on my shoulder, forcing me to look over. The one with the spear gently pressed my shoulder forward and looked down at me with an almost stern face.
You must leave now. The faster you leave, the quicker we can close the void.
Go!
I'm going.
Go get married!
I'll do it! I quickly nodded and lifted the bottom of my dress, stepping forward to make a run for the passageway. However, before I could bolt towards my freedom, a snarl echoed through the room.
How dare you interfere with my summoning!
Damn it! So close! Oh shit! Diana began to scream, arching her spine and throwing her head back. Around her body were red-tinted bolts of lightning flashing and shocking her form.
No! Human! Use the passage! Now!
I'm going! I didn't hit it. Tell me twice! Oh shit. I bolted towards the portal, diving forward as I neared it, but I was forced back by a slant burst of energy and a flash of red light. I fell to the floor, almost slamming my head onto the stone. Oh man.
Never! Ever! Leave this world alive! You spineless worm!
Close the portal! The Demon Lord might get through!
But the human...
Shit.
Close it!
Oh, shit. As commanded, the man pulled his hand back, visually forcing his arm back behind his body, and Diana's shadow quickly began to morph back into a simple shadow. The electricity around Diana faded away as she began to tip forward. The man with the spear dropped his weapon and caught Diana in his arms, cradling her to his body as she panted and gasped for air.
I don't sense the Demon Lord anywhere.
The worm has to scurry through the shadows to try and fight back. He'll be dead soon enough.
Well,
How is
that
she,
was a
guard?
bust. Diana seemed to look uninjured, but her body was twitching from the aftermath of the magical attack. Her visible eye was shut tight as she dug her fingers into the guard's jacket to cling to him. As her eye opened, I saw not a blood ruby red color, but I saw a cold and unfriendly golden color painted over her iris. Her mouth opened as she panted for air, and I could see hunger in her facial expression, but she continued to stare at the wall, not wanting to make eye contact with anyone.
There are no physical wounds, but she's been weakened. I must give her my energy so she can recover.
The man swiftly moved and hooked an arm under Diana's knees, lifting her up bridal style as she clung to his jacket, shivering. The sphere had fallen to the floor, faded back into black and purple mist as he quickly left the room with her in his arms. My mind, however, began to panic. I couldn't go home? Why was I being forced to stay?
There's an imp in the castle. That is the only way the Demon Lord could have been able to interfere.
You! Guards by the door! Hunt it down!
A pair of guards that were apparently by the door saluted to one commanding them and ran off. I felt out of place, alone, terrified as to what was going to happen. The Demon Lord wanted me here, and his words pounded at my mind. How was I ever going to get home?
Hey.
I looked up to see the winged person hovering near me before they moved and sat on their knees on the stone ground beside me.
We'll get you home, okay? Diana just needs a little rest, okay?
She needs more than rest. She needs to use a different spell to send her back. The Demon Lord will expect her to use the shadow spell again.
How about the normal way? I'm sure we can connect to a witch, or even the warlock she used before, to reopen a portal to the human world.
The warlock she used to get to the human world died, remember? And he was the most powerful warlock in the human world, practically a god himself. What other human could be used to open a portal without another human dying?
It was merely a suggestion. The faster we get this human home, the faster we can move on and finish off the Demon Lord.
Well, what are we going to do with a human now?
We can give her a room to rest in. Humans need sleep after all. Maybe by the time she wakes up, we'll think of a solution.
Come.
The woman with rabbit ears looked down at me and lowered her hand to me, inviting me to take it. She had a kind but concerned expression on her face, so I trusted her. I slowly took her hand and began to stand up as the fairy figure brushed off the small patches of dust that had accumulated on my dress. I couldn't do anything. I was forced to listen to the beings around me because there was nothing else I could do. Without them, I couldn't get home. My heart ached, but I had to accept my predicament.
Here, I'll bring you to the open ambassador's room. You are free to rest there for now.
What about Diana?
She'll be fine. She's being taken care of right now.
Why not just say she's getting
And the brute strikes again with the lack of tasteful filtering between his brain and his mouth. You still have yet to prove me wrong about my expectations of you.
Keep testing me, assassin. I'm not afraid to rip your spine out of your body and use it as a back scratcher.
You can very well try, brute.
Dang, dude.
Ugh! Would you both knock it off?
Come, everything will be taken care of.
Before I could protest, the woman led me out of the room and into the hall. I kept my eyes down, trying to take in more of the situation I was in. I was trapped in a demon world and Diana was out of commission. The Demon Lord had plans for me. What exactly was he aiming for? Obviously, I was just bait, though. The woman led me to a room that practically screamed medieval fantasy. Everything was clean, but it still had that old age feel, as if no one had ever stepped foot into the room until that moment.
Rest here for now. When Diana is well again, we can discuss what to do.
Thank you. I nodded to the woman before she gently curtsied and left, closing the door behind her. I took a moment to observe my surroundings, interested in understanding the aesthetic. This was fantasy turned into reality. It was like I had gone back in time. Why, though? Was the demon world really that behind in times, or did magic supersede technology and this was a result? Despite the situation I was in, which was beyond heartbreaking and terrible, my curiosity began to fester in my mind, as if I was given a golden opportunity to learn something new. However, my thoughts began to drift and I felt myself becoming weak and dizzy, no doubt from the shock and trauma I'd gone through. I stumbled toward the bed, needing to sit down and let everything settle in without passing out. As my rear hit the mattress, however, I let out a small, pleasured sigh. Holy crap, this is a comfy mattress. I fell back and my entire body simply melted into the softness beneath it. It was like I was sleeping on a cloud. Was that possible? Demon magic may have had something to do with it, but I was certain that I was drifting into an almost blissful sleep just by laying on the blankets and a mattress. Not caring that I was still in my dress, I closed my eyes and drifted to sleep. I needed the rest, and Diana wouldn't be available for a while anyway. Darkness surrounded my mind, my dreams remaining silent and hushed in the cool and calm black. No nightmares appeared and no sounds were made. I was simply resting, and that was all my body needed. I let my thoughts wander in my subconscious, thinking about what was going to happen now. What will the boys do when they realize I'm gone? What will he do? I imagined him finding a way through the demon world and pulling me back to where I belonged, wrapping me in his arms and swearing never to let me go. I would be relieved and we would be married just as we planned. How unrealistic was that? Plenty. I had to be realistic right now. I was stuck, and the only one that seemed to be able to send me back was Diana and her companions, whoever they were. I had to trust them whether I liked it or not. Eventually, I did rise from my sleep, somehow fully refreshed and calm. How could that have been?
Did you have a good rest?
I turned my head to see Diana at the door, arms crossed and leaning against the door's archway. She had a look of concern and pure curiosity on her face as she awaited my answer. Are you okay?
Huh. Well, yes, I'm fine now that I've had proper rest.
That's good. Diana shook her head and stepped into the room, closing the door behind her.
So we need to find another way to get you back to the human world. It won't be easy, but I believe it can be done by tonight at the latest.
Sounds good to me, but too good to be true, of course.
It will take time to get our shadow agents to gather the necessary supplies, but they are not hard to obtain, being that we're in a position of power. You must be lucky.
What do you mean? Diana sighed before casting a short spell under her breath. In front of me appeared a floating map, almost like a hologram. It showed an entire world of mountains, plains, and forests, and it was all surrounded by sea and water. There you go. Diana pointed at a marker that had a purple banner at its tip. It was marked in the center of some mountain forest area. It was also the very center of the map.
That is where we are currently, the center of the abyssal plains.
Diana then ran her finger in a circle around the marker, showing a perimeter around it.
Everything we need for the spell is within this area. It will just take time to gather the materials and prepare it.
I nodded, understanding the situation. I was going to hopefully be able to go home tonight, which was better than not going home at all. So what should I do then?
My suggestion? Stay in this room. I can mark this room as off-limits so that no demon may enter that would confuse you for an intruder and kill you.
Sounds good to me.
However, I cannot stop you from whatever you wish to do. Just don't leave the castle.
I don't think I'd want to.
We'll get you back to the human world. I promise you that.
Thanks, Diana. You're a really cool girl. Part of me agreed with Diana's suggestion, wanting to stay in the room and be safe in case the guards didn't know who I was and killed me on sight. However, I was very unreasonable and only did things that didn't make sense. So let's explore. Oh wait, can I go back first? Okay, yeah, let's save it first so I don't screw up. I'm in the second slot. Yes, I believe so. Let's explore. There is no way I was letting this chance pass me by. I stood and walked towards the door, opening it a crack and looking around. There was no one in the hall, but there were two directions to go. Which way? Right. I went with the right. I closed the door behind me as I exited my room and began to make my way down the right corridor. Everything was definitely medieval style, and I felt a bit small in the hall. It was like I was in a fairy tale, walking around in a wedding dress. It felt almost dreamlike. The passage seemed long, decorated with wall candles, paintings, and random curtains and flowers. It was mystical to see, and I smiled. As I approached another fork in the hall, however, I sighed. Really? How does anyone find their way around? I looked back, knowing I hadn't walked far from my room. I could turn back. Yet. I'll go right again. I turned right and headed down the hall, greeted by more fantastical decor. My journey down the hall led me to a set of stairs which led to a door to the outside. I remember Diana's warning, but I was curious. I slowly approached the door and opened it, peeking outside to see what it held.
Soldiers!
Oh, shit. I peeked past the door once again to see the large, muscular man who I met when I fell into this world barking orders at a large group of soldiers. They were all attentive and obedient towards each command he shouted.
You all performed well in holding the Demon Lord off. But if we want to win this war, then you will need to become much stronger. We want to win, yes?
Yes, Commander!
Yeah.
Good! Then pair up and fight like you were fighting the Bastard Lord himself. Keep going until I give you clearance to stop.
On its order, the soldiers turned either left or right and began to spar as if they were seriously battling each other. It was almost scary to watch, swords clanging violently and shields beating against steel.
Human!
Oh. I felt my fear take over as he called out my race, making me stand up straight as the door swung fully open on its own. I wasn't able to hide anymore.
Front and center!
On its own, my body began to walk towards the muscular ogre man as soon as I was standing front and center with the sparring clashing behind me.
Do you have jurisdiction to leave your room, human?
Yes. I looked at the ogre man and noticed his golden eyes burning into my gaze. Was he using his powers on me? I think it's pretty obvious he is.
Why are you here then?
I was curious. With a raised eyebrow, the man uncrossed his arms and looked over to a weapon rack. On it were spears, swords, shields, and other weaponry that I really did not want to deal with while wearing a wedding dress.
Tell me, are you proficient with a sword?
That's a strange question. I mean, I can do Taekwondo, but...
Taekwondo? What is that?
A magical human fighting art.
What, like brawling?
Sure.
Then take off your clothes.
What? I stepped away and crossed my arms over my chest, feeling myself become red in anger and embarrassment. Okay, maybe I would consider doing that just because obviously everyone in this world doesn't really care whether you're naked or not. I mean, this guy is basically wearing dental floss. Diana is naked.
If clothes hinder you from defending yourself, you shouldn't wear any. You can look as fancy as you want for whatever reason you want, but fancy clothes won't protect you from a blade.
That's how I lost his horn. I stared. Was he seriously giving me a lecture about clothes and defending myself? He looked pretty serious, so I continued to listen without interrupting.
There's only one thing in this world that should matter to you. Yourself. If you can't protect yourself, then you need to fix that. Even if that means stripping out of that wedding garb thing or whatever you're wearing.
But I don't need to defend myself right now. I just wanted to show you...
Then show me or don't suggest the idea. Words also have power here. Unlike the human world, we take what we say very seriously.
I suddenly felt small looking at the man. Was he trying to teach me a lesson? I understood what he meant, but what was he trying to teach me? What was he trying to teach me or berate my reaction? He was making no sense, yet I felt like I should have been listening intently and obeying. Was this his commanding aura? The man shook his head and pointed at the door I came from.
Return to where you came from. You'll be sent back to the human world soon enough. Don't distract my soldiers from their training.
Wait, I want the option to fight him. I marched back to my room apparently. Okay guys, I'm gonna stop it here. Let me go ahead and save it. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here. If you like this, go ahead and leave a like. If you have any suggestions for games, leave them below. And if you'd like to see more of this content, go ahead and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I really like Matthew's route so far. I really like being inside the demon world. I think it's really cool. It gets your mind off of all the romance stuff and shows you the action. But yeah, I guess we'll see you guys in the next one.